Imagine looking out from a castle wall and seeing 40,000 enemy warriors marching toward you. A sea of banners, a sea of steel, a sea of men, and behind you, only a few hundred defenders. No reinforcements, no rescue, no hope of victory. Most men would flee. Torii Mototada did not, because he knew something the enemy did not. This battle was never meant to be won. The year was 1600. Japan stood on the edge of destiny. Powerful warlords were gathering armies. The nation was about to be torn apart by war, and standing in the path of that storm was Fushimi Castle. Inside its walls stood Torii Mototada, a samurai, a commander, a man who already knew how his story would end. His allies begged him to leave. They told him the castle was doomed. They told him death was certain, but Torii stayed, because every day the enemy spent attacking him was another day for his lord, Tokugawa Ieyasu, to prepare for the battle that would decide the future of Japan. Before the siege began, Torii wrote a final letter to his son. Not a letter of fear, not a farewell, a warrior's final lesson. He wrote that there are moments in life when duty becomes more important than survival. Moments when a man must stand firm, even when he knows death is waiting for him. Then the enemy arrived. Arrows darkened the sky. Gunfire shook the earth. Flames climbed the castle walls. Wave after a wave of attackers crashed against the fortress. Thousands against hundreds. Yet the defenders refused to break. They fought through smoke, through fire, through blood. Every sunrise brought another assault. Every sunset brought another reason to surrender. Still, they fought. For nearly 2 weeks, a few hundred men held back an army. But no fortress stands forever. The walls were breached. Enemy warriors flooded into the castle. The defenders fell one by one. The end had come. Torii was wounded, exhausted, surrounded on every side. The attackers offered him one final chance. Surrender, live, walk away. Torii refused, because his choice had already been made. Long before the first arrow was fired, long before the first wall fell, as Fushimi Castle burned around him, Torii Mototada stood his ground until the very end, and his sacrifice changed history. Weeks later, Tokugawa Ieyasu won the Battle of Sekigahara. The victory unified Japan and began a shogunate that would rule for more than 250 years. Torii never saw that future, but he helped create it. One castle, a few hundred defenders, against 40,000 enemies, and one samurai who knew he would die, yet stood his ground anyway. That is what courage looks like. That is a valiant story.